Hi, I'm Paul Laura. I think most of us want to preserve endangered species, protect natural beauty, and pass on functional, healthy ecosystems to future generations. The question is, how do we do conservation in ways that benefits both people and the environment? To achieve that goal, we need to understand the scale of human impact on the environment. Some scientists claim humans are now overwhelming the great forces of nature, so much so that we've entered a new geological epoch, the Anthropocene. If they're correct, the Earth is rapidly moving into a less biologically diverse, less forested, much warmer, and probably wetter and stormier state. It's clear that the scale of the human enterprise suddenly accelerated after the end of the Second World War, a period scientists are calling the Great Acceleration. You can see the growth in fossil fuels starting around 1950, the pollution that's caused by that, growth in population, and income, investment, water use, growth of cities, and consumption. Scientists are still talking about what the Anthropocene is and when it started. But there is a scientific consensus that human activity has had a profound influence on the global environment, that the magnitude of our actions, the variety and longevity of our changes on the landscapes and the atmosphere should make us think about whether or not we're entering into a new geological epoch. Perhaps the Anthropocene started before the Great Acceleration. There's a number of potential start dates for the formal Anthropocene epoch. Some as early as 50,000 years ago, when human hunters may have been responsible for some of the megafauna extinctions at the time. It could be the origin of farming, rice production, the Columbian Exchange starting in 1492, the Industrial Revolution, detonation of nuclear weapons, the persistent industrial chemicals that started showing up around the 1950s. The authors of this paper claim that 1610 could be the start of the Anthropocene. That's when global CO2 levels started to increase dramatically. A second possibility is 1964. That's the peak in radionuclide fallout as a result of the 1963 bomb test ban. Humanity is likely to remain a major geological force for many thousands of years, and developing a universally accepted strategy to ensure the sustainability of life support systems of the planet against human-induced stresses is one of our greatest challenges. The Great Acceleration is not showing real signs of slowing down. And in fact, in most parts of the world, the demand for fossil fuels overwhelms the desire to significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Still, there's evidence for radically different directions built around innovative, knowledge-based solutions. Whatever unfolds, the next few decades will surely be a tipping point in the evolution of the Anthropocene. The scale of humanity's impact on the environment makes conservation especially challenging. These scientists claim that the term Anthropocene itself could make it harder to pursue sustainable development. They fear that the concept of pervasive human-caused change may cultivate a sense of hopelessness in those dedicated to sustainability, and may even be a cause for accelerated changes in land use motivated by profit. These scientists claim that there are examples of relatively intact ecosystems, some unexploited by humans, such as Antarctic ice sheets, wilderness areas, sites of extraordinary species richness, and so on. They focus on the persistence of natural areas because they don't want conservationists to give up on the last wild places. If everything's altered by the Anthropocene, why worry about problems like invasive species and climate change? Other researchers, however, feel that the changes that go along with the Anthropocene are so great that we're operating in a new context and conservation has to adapt. These scientists claim that current conservation efforts are failing. We're in the middle of an extinction crisis, despite the fact that we've been able to protect large areas of the planet's surface in game parks, wilderness areas, national parks. It's not that these scientists don't care about the last wild places. They're all for protecting national parks and wilderness areas. They worry, though, that these areas are going to remain islands of pristine nature in a sea of human impact. What happens outside of these nature reserves, that matters too. Because of that, they feel 21st century conservation is changing. It should become more people-friendly, and it should focus on working landscapes, also called novel ecosystems, hybrid landscapes, ragamuffin landscapes. What do we do in places where we stopped logging and agriculture has stopped? These places are growing back and recovering. They're not natural, but they could still provide ecosystem services. Their concern is that conservation can't promise a return to pristine pre-human landscapes. We may not even want to do that. Their feeling is that nature exists amid a wide variety of modern human landscapes. They also feel that conservationists have overstated nature's fragility. When people step back, ecosystems can recover, sometimes quickly, they claim. And just losing one species might not lead to the extinction of others, much less destruction of the entire ecosystem. It's true that global forest cover is in decline, they say, but there are areas, especially in the northern hemisphere, where nature is returning to former agricultural lands. These conservationists feel that there truly is no pristine wilderness, but at the same time nature is resilient and can recover from human impacts. They feel people are part of nature, and that conservation, if done well, can help both people and ecosystems. They want to focus on development by design. They want to focus on ecosystem services. They feel that in some cases technology can be a real benefit. We have to go big if we're going to conserve the planet, so we need all kinds of partners, including corporations. They feel conservation should have relevance to people, even city dwellers, and that nature could be a garden, not a carefully manicured rigid garden, but a tangle of species and wilderness amidst lands used for food production, mineral extraction, and urban life. So let's protect our nature reserves and invest in them, but at the same time, let's also protect nature that's dynamic and resilient, landscapes that are partly natural, partly human, places that are in our midst rather than far away, and places that sustain human communities. It might be that the new conservationists that want to link people, economic development, and environmental protection, and the old conservationists that still focus on pristine landscapes aren't that far apart. Both groups love nature, both groups want to protect it, and both groups have strategies that may work in some places but not others. So what do we do? Do we continue to invest in ecosystems with historical configurations, wilderness? Should we attempt to engineer landscapes to be resilient to tomorrow's conditions? Or should we just let nature adapt on its own? It's likely that we should do all three. We can restore some ecosystems, we can actively manage others, and there may be places where it's more appropriate to step back and just let natural processes play out.